All right, where are we going to go?
Let's talk a little linebackers.
You got to do a read first or no?
No, I already did the read. Then we got a little tangent. But we could dig right in. Before the season, that was a position I know, Jay, you were very concerned about.
I'm very concerned.
I think a lot of people throughout the Browns fan nation was concerned about the linebackers, especially after how they played last season.
Yeah.
Fast forward 4 weeks, we have 4 game tape of evidence.
Yep.
Do you still have those same concerns, or has Anthony Walker, JOK, Taki, and the rest of the Browns linebackers kind of eased any concerns you had about that position group?
Well, here's what I'll say. I think Jim Schwartz should get it corrected as far as the run game goes. But I think now we see what teams are going to look to do. They're going to look at that Baltimore Ravens, playbook, and they're going to say, listen, when the Browns defense is probably one of the fastest defenses in the league, what hurts defenses that run in full flow to the football is counter action.
Yep, misdirection.
Misdirection, using it against them. You're going to see a lot of teams now set up some screens. You're going to see counter plays with the running back or quarterback. You're going to, I think, also start to see more design quarterback runs in the middle of the field,
right,
especially on the goal line. So one of the things that they do a really good job of is if they get you in third down, the Browns are a nightmare. But if you can keep that the down and distance to 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 2nd and short, the Browns are going to have to be forced to play run defense, and that means JOK being smaller. He can't just shoot gaps. Now he has to be a guy that they can get guys up on him. They can get 2 guys on him, move him around a little bit. Anthony Walker, I think he's a guy that can take the double teams and Taki, who I think is still playing well. The isolating part is JOK. Like that's the point you go after, and you try to use Myles Garrett's aggressiveness and upfield nature against him. So I think JOK is the linchpin, and I saw him miss a lot of tackles last week in the open field.
I agree that he did not have a good game last week. However, overall, through 4 games, I think the Browns linebacking core, before we talked about the Browns schedule and all these teams better or worse than you thought or whatever, if you go based on what I thought of each position group and how they played through 4 weeks, I think the biggest gap in a positive way is the linebackers.
I agree with that.
Because I think the defensive line is even better than I thought, but I thought it was going to be really good.
Sure.
I thought the linebackers would be below average, maybe average, and I think they're way better than that. If you actually look at the run grades on PFF,
right?
Again, you take it with whatever you want to take it. Anthony Walker is 12th against the run.
Wow.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is 22nd, and Sione Taki is 25th. They're all top 30.
That's great.
Top 30. I look at top 32, meaning your linebacker 1, essentially, against the run.
Exactly.
And all 3 of them are top 32.
Which is impressive.
Now, their grades are not as good, but even against the pass. But overall, Walker and JOK are both top 30 overall.
That's very,
which is
very
good.
impressive.
Taki is a little lower because his pass grade is really bad.
Because you got to figure there's 90 to 100 linebackers that are playing a number of plays.
Right.
So if you're top 30, you're top third.
Yeah.
And that's good.
And so I think overall they've played way better than I thought they would.
I agree with you, Bull. I think in terms of position groups, they have been the biggest surprise in a good way.
Yes.
So that was clearly, if I was to rate all the position groups, it was my number 1 concern was linebacker. My number 2 concern was wide receiver. Now, where are we at the quarter pole? I think the most overachieving group so far has been the linebackers.
Yeah.
The most underachieving group so far have been the wide receivers and the offensive line. Major concerns.
I'm
you think you go running back in there too, but obviously,
you can, but obviously, when Nick Chubb, when you had the best running back in the league and now he's gone, obviously that's a huge downgrade. You could even make
that excuse at offensive line with Conklin. I wonder if Conklin had not gotten hurt, would they have considered moving the big fella to left tackle for Wills? I guess it's hard. We'll never know.
It is a good question. I don't know, but I will say this: when you put all of what we just said into a vacuum and say our wide receiver group, we weren't impressed with them coming in. For me, they've underperformed as a group.
I thought they were fine coming in, but I agree with you that they have.
I was very concerned coming in. I'm even more concerned now. Offensive line, I wasn't concerned about it. I really wasn't. I mean, I figured that I didn't think we'd see the rookie, but now that we have, that's become a bigger concern of mine. Running back is a major concern now.
Sure.
The only thing left is the quarterback, and I don't know what we have there.
Well,
so if you just look at all of those things in a vacuum, it could be a season of offensive challenges like no other. Because where are the points coming from?
I mean, at this point, there's no unit on offense that is even as good as we thought, let alone better than we thought.
They're all below where we thought they would be.
Right.
And I would throw the quarterback in there too.
Right, of course.
I mean, even with the good game that he had in his last outing, if you look at what we've gotten from that position, it's below what I expected.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, below what I expected.
Whereas on defense,
offensive line, below what I expected.
Whereas defense, it's the opposite. Linebackers way better than I expected.
Well, can I
defensive backfield, better.
Defensive line, which we all thought would be real good, but it's even better than we thought it would be.
So it's like we have a tale of two teams here.
Yeah.
The defense
Kicker,
is skyrocketing.
better than you expected.
Kicker better.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question on the linebackers in particular, though. We talked about the addition of Jim Schwartz and how that would help the linebackers. They also added some competent defensive tackles, and the whole defensive line as an entirety has improved. Do you give more credit for the linebackers' improvement from last year to this year to Jim Schwartz and the scheme, or the fact that they don't have offensive guards in their grill in half a second on every single run play?
I think it's both.
Well, there's a third thing, too, that you didn't even mention, Mike, and that's
better
they're
talent.
healthy.
Yeah.
Health.
Health.
Yeah.
I'll go with the scheme, because the scheme is, in a nutshell, we don't care where you're blocking, right? We don't care necessarily if you're pulling, you're blocking down, you're double teaming. We don't care what that is. All we want to do is just be in the backfield. And if you are in the backfield, there's nowhere you can run. Look at Derrick Henry. They didn't have a scheme where they're doing extra stuff. They just say, get up front, get off the football, and linebackers get downhill. Now, I think that works because you can work that against a quarterback like a Ryan Tannehill or a quarterback that's stationary, right? When you do have a guy like Lamar Jackson who can do a little bit of both, it puts you in a predicament because now they can line you up a little bit. Now they can say, okay, well, we're not looking to throw the ball downfield 100 times. You look at what the Ravens did. They threw quick, short passes, 15 or 19 for Lamar Jackson. He's not out here trying to throw the ball 40 times. They ran the football and stuck with it. But I think the Browns linebackers have always been, to a certain extent, especially Sione Takitaki and Anthony Walker, really good, solid dudes, right? I think the guy that was struggling the most in the run was, JOK, but he's even secured that and helped that out a little bit. So I think it's both, but I would say the scheme, the defensive tackles they got up front are way more formidable than they had before.
The good thing about it, when you say like the Ravens are a different breed, which is true, you look at the Browns' schedule, the only quarterbacks they're facing that are accomplished runners are obviously Lamar. Now, they face Justin Fields, but that team's so bad that it's not like they don't have a good defense. And the same thing, they play the Colts. The Colts are a little better than we thought. Yeah. Anthony Richardson can run, but he hasn't shown much in the passing game at this point.
Is he healthy now?
He's back. He played this past week.
Okay.
Geno's not a runner. Josh Dobbs is not a runner. Purdy's not a runner. You look later in the season.
Now, Josh Dobbs can run. Do they want him to?
Yeah, but he's not right. Like, that's not his game.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett, not a runner.
Wilson, not a runner.
Russell Wilson, Stafford certainly
definitely not a runner.
Lawrence can, but not
Lawrence
what he
can
does.
run, but he's not.
But he's not like that's not a big part of his game.
No.
Fields, yes, but he's playing. I'll give him his credit. He did play better this week. C.J. Stroud's not a runner. Certainly, Zach Wilson, that's not his game, and
who knows who's going to be quarterback for the Bengals?
We'll see. But
if he's still healthy, you would think he would be a runner.
The only players that are anywhere in the ballpark as a runner to Lamar are Fields and Richardson, and they're not the same level of quarterback.
They don't scare people like Lamar does.
Tell me why does this make why this is kind of off the beaten, but why does it make me mad that C.J. Stroud is putting up these? Why does that make me mad?
Because he's a Buckeye quarterback. And because the Browns, to finally get a quarterback who still has to prove more here, had to give up a ton of draft picks to get him, whereas this bumble, you-know-what franchise in the Texans just ended up with – and he wasn't even the first overall pick in the draft because the first overall pick was what's his name?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Now, again, to be fair, it's only 4 games, but C.J. Stroud's looked amazing.
Well, he's the only quarter – no, there's – I think he's the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 250, 2 touchdowns and no picks in his first 4 games.
I mean, I look at – see, this is –
That's nuts.
I don't want to go to this. I tried to fight it. I did. But, man, when I look at the Texans who got a rookie head coach, a rookie rookie defensive end, rookie quarterback, I'm just seeing when they putting up yards like this,
I know.
And then I watch my team with veteran guys that should be proven, and it's like to get points is like pulling teeth. It's like hard to swallow a little bit. It's like, what are they doing that, they should be bad, like unequivocally. And we should be like, we shouldn't have to work that hard to get points. And I'm watching these rookies. I'm like, man, I don't know, man. It just feels like there's something.
Is there any world where you would take C.J. Stroud over Deshaun Watson?
I mean, he playing better than him. I mean, I can't. That's undeniable.
Especially when you can